Hey guys, so today I'm gonna be doing something a little bit different. I know you guys are used to seeing me doing like a get ready with me video or a cooking video, but today I'm going to share a little bit of my story with you guys. This is about the time that I ended up in foster care. So, what happened was Um, I was in a pretty bad situation when I was younger. Um, it was really toxic, it wasn't good for me at all. And pretty much one thing led to another, and I ended up in court. And um, I'm okay, so I was like 15 when I started like getting into the court system, and I believe I was in my dad's custody, but I was living with my mom at the time, and things weren't going good. I was getting into trouble, like it was just not a good situation. Things just weren't good, but I'm gonna put that aside for now and talk about how my experience was in the court system and also in the foster care system. Now, I'm going to let you know that I wasn't in foster care for very long. I was only in there for maybe a day, maybe a little bit less than a day. So it wasn't a long period of time, but it was enough to like really shock me and terrify me. So I'm gonna get right started into it. Pretty much, I was in court, and this judge, he was so mean. Like, I did not like him at all. He did not want to hear anything I had to say. He didn't care about what anybody had to say. And it was like his way or the highway, if you know what I mean. And it was awful. Like, I did not want to go into the foster care system, and I told him I was like my grandparents could look after me because they have before, and like he just wasn't hearing it. He was like, "No, like you're in the state's custody now." So he took away custody from my dad, from my mom, and um, pretty much the state had custody over me from that point on. And I was like terrified because I was just like, no way, like, this is not happening. I don't want to be in custody of the state. Like, no. So this lady in the courtroom comes up to me, and she's like, "Oh, follow me, come with me. Like, we got to take you to foster care right now." And while we're passing through this little like hallway in the courtroom, there's a wall of stuffed animals. And I was okay, so I was terrified. I was crying, but I was like trying not to cry. I was trying to be like strong, but like I was just like no, 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 like I really don't want to go. I was so scared. And she looked at me and she was like, "Do you want a stuffed animal?" And I looked at her and I was like, "No, I don't want no stuffed animal, dude. Like, I don't want to be walking with you right now. I don't want no stuffed animal." And I was 15 at the time, too. So I was kind of like, dude, I'm 15. Like, you know what I mean? But, oh, I just remember right there at that moment, I was just like, I just don't want to be here right now. Okay, lady? Like, just don't talk to me. And so we continued walking past that hallway, and finally we got to the foster care. And I walked in there. I sat down at this desk and they pretty much got down like all my information, my first name, last name, all that stuff. And then they said, "Do you have any like a phone on you or any electronic devices on you?" And I should have said no, but I was like, "Yeah, I have my phone, like I always have my phone on me, yeah." And they were like, "Oh, well, we need it. Like, we need your phone and whatever else you have because we don't want you making phone calls." So at that point, I was like, "Are you serious? Come on. Like, what?" I was so mad because taking a phone away is ridiculous, Like, but they were scared or they didn't want me calling somebody to like get me out of there. So I had to give them my phone. And then I was just sitting at this desk and I was really upset and I was just looking out the window and wanting to just run. And this lady comes up to me and she's like, what did she say? She said, uh, "How are you doing? Like, what's going on?" Because I was just really upset, like I didn't want to be there. And I was like, "Can I just please make a phone call? Like, I just want to make a phone call." And she's like, "Who do you want to make a phone call to? Like, why do you want to make a phone call?" And I was like, "I just want to make a phone call. Let me make a phone call." And she's like, "I'm sorry, but I can't let you make a phone call." And I was so mad at that point, and I was so upset. I was just bawling my eyes out. It was awful. So then my next thought was, okay, if I can't make a phone call, I'm just gonna get out of here. Like, I'm just gonna run, right? So I was like, she, so like, she kind of looked after me. She was like watching me because they kind of have to watch you to make sure, you don't run or you don't make a phone call or try and get out of the situation that you're in because you're in the state's custody now. So they're looking at you, they're watching you. So I knew I couldn't just walk out the door because there's a lot of people in the facility there and she was like watching me and everything. So I just went up to her and I said, "Can I go outside for a minute? I just want to go outside." And she said, "Well, I have to go outside with you." And I was like, "Oh my God, stop. Just no. Like, can I just go alone, please? Can I just have some me time, like some alone time?" And she's like, "No, I'm sorry. Like, I have to go with you. And I was just like, "Whatever. Okay, fine. Come with me. Whatever." So we go outside, and it's like a porch area, and I was just staring across the street because there was a mall across the street, and I was just thinking, man, I could just like run right now. I could just, in my head, I was just thinking, I'm just gonna run down that street and across, and go to the mall, or like I was just thinking of how to get out of there pretty much. And as I was thinking that, she looked at me and she's like, "Are you thinking about running?" And I was like, I just started bawling. I just broke down. I broke down. Like, I was crying. I was terrified. And I just started bawling. Like, I couldn't move. I was just, it was like I was paralyzed right there. And, she looked at me and she's like, "Everything's going to be okay. Like, you're going to get through this. And at the time, I was like, "Hell no, I'm not. Like, I got to get out of here." But I was like, "Okay, like whatever." I calmed down a little bit and I went back inside with her and sat back down at the desk. And at that point of time, the judge was trying to figure out if I was going to be staying there, like how long I was going to be staying there, if it was going to be a week or how long, because I'm pretty sure that facility that foster care system area was only like a part-time, it wasn't a full-time foster care area. So I was just waiting, you know, I didn't know what was going to happen. And I was just staring out that window. And all of a sudden, this van pulls up. This big van pulls up in front of the foster care, and the door like slides open, and there's probably maybe 10 kids in there, and they were like 6, 7, maybe 8, and they were all crying and screaming, you know, because like they just got taken away from their homes or wherever they were. And I was just watching this whole thing go down. Like, they were bawling their eyes out, they were screaming, they were terrified. And the adults, you know, they got out and they have to get him out of the van, and these kids are literally hanging onto the van like no tomorrow. Like, their little fingers are hanging onto the van's door handle, like, and the adults are like pulling them out of the van, just like. And I was like watching this whole thing, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, I have to get out of here. I was so scared because I knew they were terrified and I was terrified, and they were just like, it was like what they were doing, their actions, they're crying, they're bawling, they're hanging on to the door of the van, like so bad not to get out of the van. Like, that's how I was feeling inside, but I wasn't I wasn't like letting it show as much, probably because I was, you know, older. I was like 15, so I was trying to act tough and hide my emotion and whatnot. Um, but yeah, these kids, man, they were just, it was just terrifying to watch that. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know. And then thankfully, my grandparents came to the court and said, look, we don't want her in the foster care system. We'll take her over, you know. So the judge gave my grandparents partial custody of me. So the state still had custody of me, but they were letting me go with my grandparents. Um, thank God, because I was terrified. Like, they were already talking about where we're gonna put me, like where I'm gonna sleep and stuff, and I was like going crazy. I was just like, no way am I spending the night here. This is insane, you know. And thankfully, my grandparents, you know, they came in and took me with them. So, oh, it was an awful experience though, and you know, like, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Maybe someone's watching this that's going through something like this or has been through this, and even though I didn't go through the whole process, you know, that initial day was just mind blowing. I was just so scared, you know, and like I said, thankfully I had my grandparents there to take me home and not let me stay in that situation. But I just want to say, for anybody who is in that situation, or, you know, who doesn't have a family member to get them out of that situation, I just want to say, like, stay strong. You'll get through this, and just don't give up, because what I've learned from my experiences is just don't ever give up, because, you know, even though it's not a good situation, you'll get through it, and it'll make you a much stronger person. You know, it'll make you stronger. And yeah, I just wanted to share my story. So um, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Okay, thanks. Bye, guys.